We're here with Stewart Rhodes, the founder of Oath Keepers at the Red Pill Expo. Stewart, thank you very much for being with us.
My pleasure.
So you're going to speak here. Tell us a little bit about what your mission is. I know what it is, but a lot of people out there might not be familiar yet. Tell us a little bit about what your organization does and why you do it.
It's all about defending the Constitution, honoring the oath that I took as a paratrooper, and our guys are either current serving or former military, police, firefighters, and EMS, tip of the spear, who would be given unlawful orders. We want them to refuse those unlawful orders, but also it's about us standing up and being the protectors that we need to be.
And so give me some examples of unlawful orders. What would be something where people would say that's unconstitutional, we shouldn't obey?
For example, we saw during Hurricane Katrina, we had police officers around the country brought in to help who wound up obeying blatantly unconstitutional orders to confiscate guns from peaceable Americans who were simply trying to protect themselves against looters after the hurricane. You might have seen the video of the little old lady being tackled by a California Highway Patrolman and standing in her kitchen with a revolver with the cylinder open, unloaded, be tackles her to the ground because she refused to turn over her revolver. And that was a perversion. And that woke a lot of us up to realize we have to start reaching out to the military and police about what is constitutional and what's not, where the lines are.
Yeah, and so, how does a police officer, because they're being told this is your orders, same thing with military, this is your orders, you must follow your orders, but then there is a line where it's crossed, right? I mean, it's against the Uniform Code of Military Justice to obey an illegal order.
That's right.
And so how does a police officer, how does just an enlisted man in the Army, how do they know when that line has been crossed? Do they need training? Or?
Well, they should have training, but the problem is they don't. Police officers are trained in case law about how to get, how to do a traffic stop and not run afoul of policy. They're not taught the Constitution. They're not taught the underpinnings. That's why they wind up not understanding what the lines are. But it goes back to Nuremberg. We told the Nazis at Nuremberg that just following orders is no defense. And the same thing happened to Lieutenant Calley with the My Lai massacre. Same thing. And tried to say, well, I was only following orders. It's no defense. He was found guilty. So in the military, we know that you're on the hook either way. As you said, if you follow unlawful orders, you could be on the hook and sent to Leavenworth. And if you refuse to follow lawful orders, you can also be tried and convicted and sent to Leavenworth or even killed in wartime if you refuse a lawful order. So but you're on the hook either way. And you must make a decision as an individual about whether or not the orders are lawful. In the military, it's very clear. We all understand that. But in the civilian world, there's this weird idea among the politicians that, it's not for a police officer to decide. You just do whatever you're told, and the courts will tell us afterwards whether or not it's constitutional. That's not how the founders intended the design of the Constitution to be. That's why the oath is in Article 6. It requires that every officer of every branch of government, legislative, judicial, and executive, must take an oath to support and defend the Constitution. It's a chain going all the way down from the President of the United States down to your local dog catcher. And the genius of the founders is at any point in that chain, you can stand up and say no and stop it.
Yeah, and so we're living in some pretty bizarre times, with the governors issuing all these dictatorial orders.
Right.
Have we gone too far? Is it now time for police officers or police chiefs and sheriffs to start saying, no, we're not going to enforce that stuff? There was
Long past time. Problem is the founders were suspicious and concerned about standing armies because they understood that if you're a professional soldier, you're more likely to go along. The same problem applies to police because you're a professional law enforcement officer whose career and your livelihood, the ability to feed your family is all tied to your pension and your paycheck. You're more likely to go along with unlawful orders. That's why they wanted us to be a militia of the people who took care of not just military defense, but also law enforcement. And so one way to get back to that is have more reserve police officers who have other jobs, like a National Guardsman has another job. They're more likely to say no because their entire livelihood is not tied to it.
Yeah, absolutely, and you're right. The loss of the real militia system has been a huge tragedy for this country. So
bring it back.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we have a situation now where police are being demonized. I'm sure you've noticed they're being painted as these racist thugs that are just running around looking for innocent people to shoot. Do you see that as part of an agenda? And if so, what's at work?
Well, sure. I mean, like I mentioned in my speech, Mr. Griffin did a video in 1969 exposing the communist plan, which is to maximize racial division, use that as a wedge to divide and conquer the American people in furtherance of the communist mission. Same as what we're seeing right now being played out. They don't care about black lives. It's a communist front. That's all it is. And we understand that. And the attack on the police is only to create a vacuum that they'll fill with their version of the police, which is Antifa and Black Lives Matter thugs, like you saw in Seattle in the Chaz. Yeah. That's what you're going to get. You're going to get a totalitarian dictatorship. Or as we saw in Louisville, that's why we went to Louisville. We saw business owners being coerced, told that they must say the magic words, Black Lives Matter, or they'll be given an F grade, or they must hire a certain number of black people or give donations to certain causes. If they didn't, they'll be given an F grade and they're being threatened with arson. So we're like, we're not putting up with this on U.S. soil. We went there and protected the Shell station and two pawn shops in town that were threatened with arson.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that, right on the money. And so, you know, I've noticed that the fake media has taken to demonizing you and your organization more and more frequently, and Soviet Poverty Law Center. And so that tells me you guys are right on the money. It's great to.
So you know you're over the target.
Exactly.
Right.
Once they start attacking you, then you know you're actually making a real difference. So, you know, where do people go to find out more about the organization? How can people join? You know, say a police officer out there, you know what, I want to obey my oath to the Constitution. Where do people go to learn more about it?
They can go to oathkeepers.org. And you're welcome to join whether you're prior service or not. We're all in this together. And we also have defendamericanow.com, which is free for the public to go there and join that forum and talk to us. And our mission right now is to advise Americans on how to come together. All of us need to come together and bring the Founders Militia back up. And first thing we got to do out of the gate is protect police, homes, and families and back the blue. As long as they're obeying the Constitution, they got to know that we're going to stand shoulder to shoulder with them and make sure that our community is strong, because we face a Marxist insurrection that's in the streets. It's only going to get worse.
Amen. Well, thank you very much, Stuart. Appreciate you.
God bless.
God bless you too.
Thank you.